Correspondence at kermodeandmayo.com. Tell us something that is out and interesting.
Naomi, Lawand, which is a documentary by Edward Lovelace. It is a story about a boy's struggle to find his voice. So Lawand is a Kurdish boy whose family left Iraq when he was 5. They were hoping to find a better life. They spent a long period of time in a refugee camp. Lawand was born deaf and his communication skills were very, very limited until he arrived in the UK and was enrolled in Derby's Royal School for the Deaf. And here, he started to flourish. He had this kind of radical change in which he learned sign language and he started to be able to express himself. And Ed Lovelace captures this he worked on this documentary over a period of years, and he learned signing as well so that he could communicate. And so the documentary is a real labour of love. And in it, we see the fortunes of this young boy change, and we see him come out of his shell, and he smiles, and his smile lights up the room. And I mean, it's really transformative. And then, just when it looks like everything is on track, the Home Office begin proceedings to deport him and his family, saying that they don't have the right to be here. So what then happens is it turns into, I mean, in the most literal sense of the word, it's a fight for his future. So I don't know whether you remember, but some years ago, I reviewed a documentary about Edwyn Collins called The Possibilities Are Endless, which is that after Edwyn Collins had his stroke, he was finding his way back to his life with the help of Grace Maxwell, his partner and, soulmate. And I said the thing about that documentary is it's basically, it's a love story. It's a love story first and foremost. And you just, the connection between those two people is brilliant. And one of the things that Edward Lovelace says is that documentaries should have all the possibilities of all the genres of cinema, action and drama and melodrama and all that sort of stuff. So one of the things that his film has tried to do is to use sort of expressionistic visuals to take us inside the world of its subject. I'm going to show you a very brief clip which just gives you a hint of what I'm trying to talk about. Then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Have a look at this. So obviously, if you're listening to this as a podcast, what you're not seeing is the clips of him signing, telling his story, talking about how he used to be bullied, how he's now finding himself and finding his own personality, and really starting to express himself. And I interviewed the director on stage at the BFI, and one of the things he talked about was the Julian Schnabel film, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. And the way in which that film had sort of attempted, it's a drama, but it's a drama based on a true story, based on a book, that was attempting to take you into the experience of the central character. And he talked about that as being like one of the things that he used as a reference point for this. I think it's really terrific. I have cited this thing so many times before about Roger Ebert saying that, cinema is a machine for creating empathy. And if you want proof of that, look at Naomi, Lawand. It is a film that absolutely tells a true story with a subject at the center of it who is actually amazingly cinematic. I mean, you just saw in those brief clips, you know what I mean about when he smiles.
It's absolutely.
It's like
he looks like a young Timothée Chalamet. That's what he looks like.
Actually, yes. Yeah, but way more
aged like 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got this incredibly engaging film. One of the things that's interesting about cinema is the way in which cinema attempts to catch the emotions by looking at people's faces and attempting to read people's faces. And I think he has an amazingly expressive face. Anyway, this is a terrific documentary. It's a really, really fine film. I can't recommend it enough. And I mean, obviously, there's there are things in it that are dark and difficult, but it is a really moving, ultimately uplifting story. I would just advise anyone to seek it out because it really does that thing about showing you how cinema can show you someone else's experience and tell you a story that will enrich your life.
And is it cinematic?
It is cinematic, and I would, if you can see it on the big screen, do, because it's, as I was trying to sort of say with that clip, so much of it is to do with the way in which the film, in a very expressionistic way, attempts to capture his experience.
Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would. I have done.
Excellent.